Hey everybody, welcome to AEW Weekly. This is, of course, No Bones About Wrestling. I am one of your hosts, Asa, and I'm joined, as always, by the lovely Kay Fabulous.
Hey.
And we are going to give you all the week that was in All Elite Wrestling. We have results, of course. We have news. We have rankings, and as always, probably some bad jokes, maybe some good jokes as well.
And our topic of the week.
Which we'll decide at some point, I suppose, during the show, because we haven't talked about it yet. But yeah, as always, to close out the show, we'll have a topic of the week we discuss. So let's get right to it. What do you say?
Sounds good.
All right, AEW Dynamite, November 29th, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Start off, Bryan Danielson returned with a badass pirate eye patch due to his orbital injury. He will be joining Excalibur and Taz on commentary for the Gold League Continental Classic matches. And we start off with a Gold League Continental Classic match. And let me bring up something before we even start the match. Have you been reading online about how people are having trouble reading the standings?
What?
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward.
Right. Yeah. But people are having trouble with the 3, the 0, and what does it mean? It's like 3 means a win, 0 means they lost the match. And then the totals are all the way on the right.
How is that confusing?
There are a lot of people online. I don't know if they're legitimately confused or if it's like WWE biased people just making something up so they can talk shit about how it's confusing. But there are a lot of people online claiming to be confused.
Well, as a teacher, I probably shouldn't say this, but there are a lot of dumb adults out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I know.
I mean,
No, I believe it. I believe it.
it.
There are a lot of dumb people, and they're like, yeah, this is not the way that American fans are used to watching wrestling, with any sort of math involved. No.
It's adding single-digit numbers.
You're telling me. You're telling me.
I can't think of a way they could have done it that could possibly be more clear.
Well, 1 point for a win, 0 for a loss.
But then what if there's a draw?
0.
No, I'm not down with that.
No. But yeah, it's laughable. It's sad. I don't know if it's laughable or sad. It's a bit of both.
It's very surprising.
But yeah, there are a lot of people. I mean, the pictures of the guys are on the left, and then it shows, per each match, like who they faced. Did they get a 0 for a loss or 3 for a win? They've all been wins or losses so far. Not even any draws to confuse anyone. And, but yeah, and then all the way on the right, they've done all the math because they showed the total points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, right, I don't understand what has gotten people confused, but people seem to be confused.
Huh.
Anyway, well, I on X, I posted what a New Japan tournament looks like, and theirs is a little more complicated. It looks better. It looks more complicated, but it's not more complicated. But theirs actually, if the match hasn't happened yet, theirs goes further. They have the date the match is going to occur in the space where if the match hasn't happened yet. Which would be cool if AEW would do that,
Yeah.
Know what we have coming up. But now let's get to one of the Continental Classic matches. The Gold League, Jon Moxley with 3 points coming into this. Jon Moxley of the Blackpool Combat Club. And Jay Lethal with 0 points coming into this match. Several side headlocks and head scissors to begin the match. Moxley hit a tough clothesline in the corner. Very hard clothesline on Lethal. Lethal began working on Moxley's leg after Moxley had a tough landing on the outside. Looked to have, I don't know, injured something on his leg. Moxley hits a diamond cutter, and paradigm shift by Moxley, and then a pile driver. Thought it was over at this point. He just gets a 2 count. But Moxley gets a chokehold on Lethal. Lethal submits, and Moxley now has 6 points in the Gold League of the Continental Classic.
He's the first one at this point, right? To have 6.
Correct. Yep. And so Moxley takes the lead in the Gold League with 6 points. Jay Lethal still with 0 points. I gave this match 4 bones out of 5. Good opener for Dynamite. Last Saturday, after Collision, Eddie Kingston said he'll be ready for Bryan Danielson on Collision this Saturday. Had a promo. Next, Tony Schiavone is with Sting and Ric Flair, the Nature Boy. And he announces AEW Revolution March 3rd will be at the Greensboro Coliseum. Sting says it's a fitting place to end his career. And, Sting pretty much says Ric Flair's the man that made me, at the Greensboro Coliseum. They had this, 45-minute classic match. Clash of the Champions won. But Flair says he didn't make Sting. Sting made himself, and he's honored to be with Sting for this last run of his career here.
They also said that Sting is undefeated in AEW in singles competition, which I haven't realized.
Yeah. I mean, who are you going to book to beat Sting, really?
I don't know. He loses in tag matches all the time,
Has he, though?
I guess not all the time, but he has.
I can't think of one he's lost, honestly. I can't think of a tag match he's lost. I'm not saying he hasn't,
Really?
but I can't think of one he's lost. I can't name one.
No, in my head they've lost some. Maybe they haven't.
I don't know. Yeah, so we will be at Revolution. It is about 25 minutes from our house. So
yeah,
we will be going to Revolution. I'm very excited. I've seen more wrestling at the Greensboro Coliseum than any other place in the world. So I'll be glad to go back there and see this show. Greensboro Coliseum, very historic. That is where the first 5 Starcades were held. NWA Starcade, what used to be the NWA's WrestleMania show. We're doing our retro watch-alongs on this December, Starcade. And the first Starcade was at the Greensboro Coliseum in 1983, and this Sunday we're doing a retro watch-along of that first Starcade at the Greensboro Coliseum. So make sure to catch that 1 o'clock Sunday on our YouTube channel right here where you're watching this. Yeah, you excited about Revolution?
of course.
And also, it is where Will Ospreay is going to have his first AEW match. Well, his first match since he signs a contract with them, I should say.
Yeah.
So I'm excited as fuck to see this show. I cannot wait. Can't wait.
And we get to meet our good friend Dylan from Last Week in Wrestling podcast. He's going to fly down to come to Revolution.
Fly down to North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show, I think. I mean, just Sting retirement, Will Ospreay debuting. I mean, just that.
That alone is enough. You
Yeah.
know?
We have another Continental Classic Gold League match. Mark Briscoe versus Roosh. Both men with 0 points heading into this match. Hard chops by both men to begin with. And they were trying to kill each other by chopping. Roosh rams Briscoe against the barricades several times. Briscoe's gum falls out of his mouth. And Briscoe picks it up off the mat with his mouth.
He hoovers it up.
Yeah. Very classy, Mark Briscoe.
He's awesome.
Yeah, I love him. Briscoe hit the Cactus Jack elbow drop from the apron to the arena floor. Briscoe spears Roosh, then hits a neck breaker. Briscoe runs at Roosh on the apron. Roosh flips him over, throwing him to the arena floor. Pretty tough-looking fall on Briscoe's part. Briscoe hits a froggy bow, gets just a 2 count. Roosh hits the mess with the bull, get the horns, gets the pin and the win for 3 points. So Roosh gets his first 3 points of the tournament. And this very good match, 4.5 bones out of 5. This was the Dynamite match of the night. Mark Briscoe losing to Roosh here.
Can I point out that Mark Briscoe has had the match of the night the last 2 matches he wrestled in?
Sure.
I'm really worried they're going to do him dirty
And
not give him any points.
really?
Who are they going to have lose to him?
anybody could. I mean, I half expected he was going to beat Moxley just to start
I
it
did
off.
too, but then they didn't do it, and so now I'm like worried that they're not. You know, like maybe like Jay Lethal, I could see him beating Jay Lethal.
Yeah.
But then even that, I think they might do a draw. That way, both of them can have at least 1 point. I don't want him to get to the end of the tournament and have a big fat goose egg.
Yeah. Well, they've got to do something with Mark Briscoe. I mean, Briscoe has such a connection with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
People love him.
I love him.
And it's not just sympathy because his brother died.
Yeah.
I think really he could be a singles star. I think it's just a matter of being given the opportunity because he has the moves, he has the charisma. Like if he just gets the opportunity, he can, if he gets the ball, he could run with it, so to speak. So I think Tony Khan just needs to give him a chance, and he could have an accidental big star on his hands. Like I really mean that, very much kind of the same way as Mick Foley, just the same way people liked Mick Foley, because he was, well, even while he was playing three characters, there was still something about him that was genuine,
Well, that's what I was going to say about his wrestling style. Like, his wrestling style reminds me of Mick Foley, not just because of that elbow drop, but the fact, like, when Mark Briscoe does a move, he is putting his entire body into the move that he is doing.
Yeah.
Like, he just, like, he's almost like Darby Allin. Like, he throws himself with, no abandon. Yeah. I mean, like, just, like, totally not caring in the world for what possible repercussions this could have for him physically. Interesting,
Yeah. No, he just, like I said, just needs a chance, and he could be a big star. Yeah. I really mean that. But so you think Lethal is going to end up with no points, maybe also?
Yeah, I mean,
Lethal is one of the underwhelming parts of the tournament for me. I mean, he's had good matches. Don't get me wrong; he's been a solid wrestler during the tournament. But you just would have thought that maybe somebody else could have got a spot. Like I said, one of the people I said should be in the tournament. Motherfucking Sting. Put Sting in this thing. But they almost would have had to have him win it, wouldn't they?
Yeah, Sting couldn't be in this.
Unless he won.
And then what? He's going to retire with 3 belts? Like, that's not a good plan. That's a terrible idea.
I think it would be awesome.
No.
Get him the Triple Crown, and then he retires with it. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
He retires with it, and then those belts disappear?
No, and then they have
another tournament?
No, they have a Battle Royal or something.
No, that's not a good idea.
I think it would be a great idea, yeah.
No.
Have Sting retire as a champion? Yes, I think he deserves to.
Well, then let him retire with one of the other belts and get rid of a belt. Give him the TNT and let him retire that. And then end the TNT.
I'm not saying get rid of the whole belt. I think he should get a belt that's worth something.
Mm-hmm. Or 3 belts worth something.
Or 3 belts, yeah. I mean, shit, let Samoa Joe beat MJF at World's End to have Sting beat Samoa Joe and retires the AEW World Champion. Why not?
That is dumb.
No, I think that would be great. I mean, if there aren't many people that deserve to retire as a world champion, but out of a very few who I would say would deserve that, Sting would deserve that. Yeah.
Maybe I disagree with you. Disagree with you because I'm not familiar with the depth and breadth of his work.
Yeah, I think that has to be it.
Because I don't agree with you at all.
Well, we'll watch some Sting stuff up until his
I've seen some old Sting matches, but
you've seen 2 Sting matches?
2 Sting matches, yeah.
Yeah. So one of which we watched the other night was not good.
No.
Starrcade 93
with the tag match.
Yeah, the Sting and Road Warrior Hawk lost to they beat the Nasty Boys by disqualification in a World Tag Team title match. But the match, and I love the Nasty Boys. I like Road Warrior Hawk. I love Sting. But this match was not good. It was 29 minutes long, too, at Starrcade 93. I think they had to kill some time, and that really killed the match.
It was 20 minutes too long.
I'd say so, yeah. 17 minutes too long, maybe, yeah. Should have been a 12-minute match. But anyway, so Roosh and Mark Briscoe, very good match, 4.5 bones. As I said, Roosh got the win, but match of the night for Dynamite. We are in Toni Storm's dressing room, and so we are in black and white. She's resting. Mariah May and Luther are there. Toni Storm says that she was partying with JFK, or one of the Kennedys. She says she's dehydrated and has a touch of the gout. And she then got RJ City to remove her shoes, which he does to quite a crowd reaction. A lot of foot fetishists in the audience, apparently, of AEW Dynamite. But it was another funny promo. Just, she's a really funny lady. I wonder who's writing these and how much of it she comes up with and how much of it is being written and who's writing it,
Mm-hmm. Those are some good questions.
Because it's funny stuff. It's probably the funniest stuff I've seen in AEW,
I don't know. Roderick Strong stuff is pretty funny.
That's true.
And some of those segments with MJF and Adam Cole when they were like becoming best friends. Some of those were pretty funny too.
I feel like when we see the comedy come in, I feel like that's not Tony Khan's thing, but I tell you whose thing it does seem like it's Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. We know Jericho has some influence and has a little, to say backstage, but how much is he writing or coming up with? I don't know. But just that's my feeling. Out of all the people we know have anything to do with the AEW product, when we hear this comedy, when we see comedy out of them, I feel like a lot of it is Chris Jericho. That's just my feeling. Up next, AEW World Champion and one half of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, MJF, walks out with a cane. And MJF discusses how Samoa Joe broke the mold for what a wrestler could be. Talking about Samoa Joe's days in TNA. And MJF lists his various injuries, his knee, his hip, his shoulder. He has a torn labrum. He then tells Samoa Joe that if he wants to beat MJF at World's End, he's going to have to, quote, put him down. So kill him, I guess. Then the lights go off and spotlights begin swirling. And 4 of the Devil's minions attack MJF. Samoa Joe comes out for the save. And so one of them, they put MJF in like a camel clutch. And then the biggest of the Devil's minions, who a lot of people say is Wardlow. I don't know. But he's a big guy. A big white guy. We know that. I saw his skin. The big guy was holding a lead pipe, and they were going to beat MJF with that. But Samoa Joe makes a save, and then text starts appearing on the screen. And
I thought he had a black baseball bat.
I
thought it was Floyd at first.
No, I think it was a pipe.
Oh.
I think it was a pipe.
I think it was a bat.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was a pipe, but it could be either.
Mm-hmm.
He had a big blunt object, is the point. Text starts appearing on the screen. And basically what comes out of that is MJF says that next week he accepts a tag team match on behalf of Samoa Joe. So it's going to be MJF and Samoa Joe against, quote, the unknown. So being 2 of the Devil's minions. So that'll be interesting, because, we've been told that what?
I'm just thinking how fun it is that we get to say they're having a match against 2 of the Devil's minions. What a fun sentence that is.
True.
Sorry.
But so we, we've been told that the people in the costumes are the actual people. They're not being played by actors. Like, it is who it's going to end up being unmasked as. It is who they will end up being unmasked as. So now that we'll see 2 of them wrestling, we can not just go off of physical appearance, but we can go off of wrestling style, which for those of us who know these guys' wrestling styles may be a big giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
Or will they switch up their wrestling styles so that it's not as obvious, it'll be interesting to see. Because I tell you who I think the minions are. I think it's the Kingdom, Roderick Strong, and Wardlow. That's what I think.
Hmm.
But we'll find out at some point, I assume, who these guys are. They keep it going. And it's still pretty interesting.
So what would have put them together? And which one of them is the devil?
No, I said those are the minions.
I know. So
the devil's Adam Cole.
Okay. So why did Wardlow join up with this crew?
He hates MJF.
So just united by their hate?
Yeah.
What about your thinking it was Ricky Starks? No more?
I didn't think that.
You did, because of the way he moved his head.
That was months and months ago.
Oh, okay.
That was at first. That was before anything else happened, and the thing had been going, and we'd seen the minions and things like that.
Okay.
And that was before anything happened with it. That was just based on the first appearance.
I got you.
But now that we've seen the devil more and we've seen these minions more, that's what I think. I think, like I said, I think Wardlow, Roderick Strong, and the Kingdom are the minions, and Adam Cole is the devil. We'll see. I'll be very impressed with myself if I'm right. But that's what I think. That's what I think. And Wardlow, here's a part about that. Up next is Wardlow versus AR Fox. And Wardlow, he comes out, and his hair, the front of his hair, is messed up, as though he was under a mask, which he was under a mask the previous segment if he's one of the minions. But his hair is messed up, like I said, as though he's just taken a mask off, as though it had been under a mask, like it's pressed down and it looks like this kind of deal. I can't do it. I can't get it to do it. I was trying to do an illustration for you, but it looked as though, like I said, his hair had been pressed and then kind of raised up when he took the mask off, and throw in some static in there from being under the mask. That's the impression I got, and I'm not the only person looking online. There are a lot of people who caught that. But so Wardlow versus AR Fox. AR Fox hit a 450 splash in this one for a 2 count. Wardlow gives a couple clotheslines and then 2 power bombs, then a senton bomb. And after power bomb number 3, the referee stops the match, and Wardlow gets another squash win as he stomps his way on to an eventual meeting with MJF. Was his plan. We'll see. There's a lot of, there are so many plot lines going towards MJF. This injury of his, it's going to be tough. I mean, they're almost at a spot. Can they really afford to take him off of TV even,
Well, does he have to be completely gone? Like, Adam Cole has been on TV almost weekly. Like, he wasn't on this week, but he's been on in some form almost every week since his injury, sometimes twice a week.
Yeah.
So they might not have to scrap everything. I hope they don't.
Yeah, I hope not.
There's a lot of interesting stuff going on.
Well, the plan right now, like I said, he has a match. MJF has a match on Dynamite, has a match December 30th at World's End. So from what I've read, the labrum injury, it takes 6 weeks to heal, and then 6 weeks to reach its full strength again. And we're not talking about surgery. We're just talking about a natural healing process. So 12 weeks being, 3 months. So he's hoping to have, kind of half matches or like smoke and mirrors matches, so to speak, meaning where he doesn't have to do a lot physically. And maybe some tag matches. So maybe I'm sure Samoa Joe will take the brunt of the action in this tag match coming up on Dynamite. But it looks like that's what he's going to have until he's healed up, so that they maybe don't have to pull him off the television. Up next, the Hardys and Brother Zay team up, and it's a trios match against Top Flight and Action Andretti. And that's right, Top Flight. Dante Martin is back. This is in his hometown, and he's back after having his foot turned around backwards on that Ring of Honor pay-per-view. What show was that? Do you remember?
That was whatever was after Supercard of Honor.
Yeah,
Or was
I don't
it
remember.
Supercard of Honor? It was in March.
I think it was Supercard of
Honor.
Honor.
It was Supercard of Honor. Yeah, it was March.
But he's back. So Andrade starts with some impressive moves, including an enziguri. The Hardys hold up Dante. Zay comes in with a missile dropkick. Zay gets shotgun dropkick by Andrade into a German suplex by Darius Martin into a suplex / rock bottom type of move by Dante for the pin and the win. So very impressive triple teaming there by Top Flight and Action Andrade as they pick up the win. And this was an entertaining trios match, of course, with the Hardys and Brother Zay. 4 bones out of 5. Good match.
I think it's worth noting too, Dante did not look rusty at all.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Like he was just like flying right out of the gate. Very impressive.
Yeah, didn't look like a guy who had his foot turned around backwards, that's for sure. So this trios team of Top Flight and Action Andrade, I think they're promising,
Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to see awesome things from them, especially with what happens next.
Yeah. Up next, Top Flight and Action Andrade are being interviewed when Penta El Zero Miedo walks up and counts them. 1, 2, 3. He then counts himself as 1, and the camera pans, and up come Commander, who he counts as 2, and El Hijo del Vikingo, who he counts as 3. So he's challenging them to a trios match.
Yay!
Which was this match on Rampage?
Oh my God, was that match on Rampage?
I'm not sure.
No.
We haven't watched Rampage yet from this past
It has
week.
to be that's like a Dynamite match, right?
I don't know. But at some point soon, Top Flight and Action Andrade versus Penta El Zero Miedo, Commander, and El Hijo del Vikingo.
And what is going to be an awesome match.
Or may have already happened on Rampage.
Or may have already happened. We haven't watched Rampage.
Yeah. So up next, we have a TBS title match. It's a house rules. So we had the open challenge. And Emi Sakura takes the open challenge. And the match, the rule that she picks is the match can't end in a submission. So, which is smart because she knows, Julia Hart uses the
Heartless.
The Heartless, thank you. Submission hold as a finisher. But she knows she would want to tap out to it, but now by putting no submission, she can't tap out to it, So pretty smart. Emi hits a crossroads on Hart at one point. Emi is in control for most of the match, actually. Julia Hart misses her moonsault at the end. And what I was going to say before that, actually, and what I was talking about just a second ago happens, where Julia Hart gets the Heartless on Emi Sakura, and Emi is tapping out, like she's tapping on Julia's back, but the ref isn't calling it because, again, no submissions. So she knew she would want to tap out if she was put in the hold, but as I said, the match couldn't end on that. So pretty ingenious there. All
Can I
for
ask
naught.
a question about that?
Yeah.
Does the crowd know what the stipulation is? Because you don't hear the announcers when you're in a live taping.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, because some of them looked a little confused when Emi was tapping.
That's a good point. I bet they don't.
Because they should have a way of they should put it on the screen or something.
Yeah. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I would bet no. But that's just if they make a special announcement during the commercial for the crowd that's there.
Oh, that's a good call.
Which I bet they don't, but it's something they should do. I mean, if the crowd doesn't understand the rules of the match, you're lost already,
Yeah.
Which that's not the crowd's fault, it's your own fault. It would be AEW's fault. But at the end of the match here, Julia Hart misses her moonsault, and Emi has to move herself into its path. And Julia gets the pin and the win after that.
Great ending.
Yeah, terrible ending. Good match. Terrible ending, though.
Like, it's cool you can do a moonsault, but if you can't land it in the right spot, don't do it.
Yeah, she's usually pretty good about that, though, actually.
Yeah.
But she was way off. She was off by several feet.
I don't think Emmy was in the wrong spot. Do you think Emmy was in the wrong spot?
I don't think so. No, I think Julia
Yeah.
Hart was just way off. So she needs to get that in. I mean, you could kill somebody. You know, you land the wrong way, you land on somebody's head, and you kill them. So get your shit together, Julia Hart. So 3 bones out of 5 for that match. Good match, terrible ending.
3 bones. That's low.
3 bones out of 5?
Yeah.
That's the rating.
I don't like that for my girl Emmy.
RJ City is with Mariah May. She's in the back to see Tony Khan. Who knows what she wants? TNT champion Christian Cage next is in the ring, and he invites Adam Copeland out. Christian talks about how he and Copeland got started, and Christian eventually says, let's team up again and dedicate it to Judy, which is Adam Copeland's mom. And eventually Copeland low blows Christian and then tells Christian, go fuck yourself. Which, you know, should have been bleeped by the network. I mean, not that I give a fuck, but I'm just saying, in the practice of things, should have been bleeped by the network, but whoever's job it was totally missed it.
But that's fine, because they bleeped the next, 7 words that were all totally fine.
Right. Yeah, somebody was asleep at the button. And we closed out with one last Continental Classic Gold League match. Swerve Strickland, who came into this with 3 points, taking on Jay White, also coming in with 3 points. So the winner of this match will be tied with Moxley for first place in the Gold League. Swerve hit a nice vertical suplex in this one. Swerve hit a flying stomp on Jay White. And eventually, Swerve caught White in a pin move, and got the pin and the win. And Swerve has 6 points. And this match, I gave 4 bones out of 5. Very good ending. And as I said, match of the night was what did I say?
Roosh and Mark Briscoe.
Roosh and Mark Briscoe. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Swerve now has 6 points, and he and Moxley are tied for the lead in the Gold League. We'll go over the standings in a little bit for both leagues. But yeah, very good Dynamite. Very good Dynamite. I really enjoyed it.
These Continental Classic matches, I think, are really elevating the product, you know?
Mm-hmm. Or showcasing the guys that deserve to be showcased. Yeah, definitely. So Collision, December 2nd from Erie, PA. Where does Count Dracula like to water ski?
Lake Erie?
Just say where. You're supposed to say where.
Where?
You already ruined it. Don't worry about it.
I thought you were supposed to guess. You asked
No,
me.
you say where. It's a setup for a joke. You say where, and then I say the joke. So we get the promos. We get the Collision opening promos. Brody King gets a promo. There are several of them. Brody King, Claudio Castagnoli, CJ Perry and Andrade El Idolo, Daniel Garcia, Bryan Danielson, Eddie Kingston all get about 10 seconds of promo time. And the first match for Collision, we get a Continental Classic Blue League match. We get Brody King of the House of Black coming in with 3 points, taking on Claudio Castagnoli of the Blackpool Combat Club, also coming in with 3 points. So the winner of this one would be in the lead for the Blue League. Lots of forearm shots and chops to begin. Claudio body slams Big Brody. Pretty impressive, but we all know how strong Claudio is. King tears away the padding on the barricade, on the top of the barricade, and whips Claudio into it. Some more chops by King and some European uppercuts by Claudio. Claudio traps Brody in the corner and nails, about 8 European uppercuts, and then the referee stops him and says give him the 5 count. And then Claudio just does a spin move around the referee, goes back to the corner, and starts laying in more European uppercuts. Gets about a dozen European uppercuts in on Brody King. Claudio then gets the big swing on Brody, which going into this match, I was curious, can he do that?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, he can.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. So he hit the big swing and then slapped on the sharpshooter. King reached the ropes, though. Cannonball Senton by Brody. 1 count only on Claudio. Death Valley Driver by Claudio on Brody. 1 count only. Pile Driver by Brody gets a 2 count.
I feel like you're not selling the importance of those both being 1 count onlys. For how far into the match they were,
yeah,
that was like shocking.
Well, and I thought they were just getting revved up, but they were coming to a close. I thought they were getting revved up for like 5 or 10 more minutes, but they were coming to a close. As I said, but you're right. Those 1 counts were very impactful. Yeah, when they occurred. Pile Driver by Brody for a 2 count, and then a big lariat by Brody King. Got the pin and the win on Claudio Castagnoli. And surprise, surprise, Brody King has 6 points, and he is in the lead in the Blue League.
Awesome.
And I doubt anyone saw that coming. I would be surprised if anyone predicted that. This was a very good match to open Collision, 4 bones out of 5. We then get a Jon Moxley promo where he says he's talking about his injuries, his neck, his back, his pussy and his crack. No, his neck, his back, his knee. He talks about how he's getting tingling in his hands. And he says, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, which was a Fannie Lou Hamer quote.
Oh, yes, Fannie Lou Hamer, who we all know and love.
She ran for, I believe it's her. I could have the name wrong. She was a black woman. She ran for Democratic nomination for president in 1968, running against Robert F. Kennedy, who of course got killed, but running against whoever got the nomination, which I'm not remembering right now. They lost to Nixon, whoever got the nomination in 68. But that was a very famous quote of hers.
So she's sick and tired of being sick and tired?
I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, yeah.
It's a good line.
Yeah. And so he said that. I'm going to have to look that quote up now and see who...
You're probably right. The way your brain works, I would not be surprised.
No. I got the name wrong. I think it was Shirley Chisholm. Shirley Chisholm, I think was the person. But now I got to look it up. I could be wrong again now, but I believe that was her name. Anyways, back to wrestling. He says, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm going to wrestle my way out of it. I'm sick of being depressed. And he goes on to say, I'm the ace of the world, bitch, and that's how it is. So when you're the ace, that's a Japanese saying for being the top guy in the promotion. You're the ace. You're the top that they have. And so it was a good promo by Moxley, I thought.
I agree.
He was talking about how he's on these medications, and I guess part for injuries and part for depression. And like I said, he's talking about all this shit that's wrong, and he's saying, I'm going to wrestle my way out of it because that's what I know, and it was a good promo. Guy really nailed down what his character is supposed to be. Even though we understand at this point what his character is supposed to be, just was a great job of further iterating what his character is supposed to be. So, great job. Up next, we have a ladies match. if you can call one of them a lady.
Of
Abaddon.
course you can.
Abaddon versus
Yeah.
Kiera Hogan.
Abaddon's like the definition of lady.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Poster child for femininity.
Abaddon licks Hogan's face at one point.
See?
Hogan hit a nice neck breaker. She did not look good in this match, but her neck breaker looked good. Abaddon eventually hit the Black Dahlia for the pin and the win, which is a move where she gets the opponent kind of trapped under her leg, and then she DDTs them. Interesting looking move. This match, Kiera Hogan was not good. She was not sharp in this. She really ruined the match. 2 bones out of 5. After the match, the lights go out. They come back on, and Julia Hart is in the ring. And Abaddon turns to her. They go off again, and Julia Hart is gone. So maybe setting up maybe a Julia Hart versus Abaddon match.
Or they build that out. I don't want that to just be like exactly what happens right away.
Yeah. Well, or, maybe Julia Hart is scouting Abaddon to join House of Black.
I would be down with that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be cool. 3 men and 2 women. That'd be cool. We don't see that in a stable a lot of times. Usually you see 1 woman in a stable, if there are any women in a stable,
Mm-hmm.
So it would be cool to see. Samoa Joe next is Samoa Joe is getting interviewed. Roderick Strong rolls up with the Kingdom, and Strong yells, "Samoa!" and tells him that his tag match on Dynamite with MJF against the Devil's Goons, or the Devil's Minions, is a trap, he tells him. Roderick Strong says MJF is the devil, and they're just going to beat up Joe. And Joe laughs and leaves. So, I'm not sure if he was laughing because he doesn't care who the fuck the devil is, or if he was laughing because he just really doesn't think it's MJF, or if he was laughing because just Roderick Strong is ridiculous. Or maybe all of those things. I don't know. But that was his reaction, was just to laugh and leave. Then we get an AEW Revolution promo about Sting's retirement match, just real quick. And another Continental Classic match for the Blue League. We have Daniel Garcia with 0 points, taking on Andrade El Idolo, and this is his first match in the tournament, so he has 0 points coming into it as well. Andrade pushed Garcia off the top rope and to the floor. Then once Garcia was back in the ring, Andrade got him on the top rope for a superplex. And Andrade even paid homage to Eddie Guerrero's 3 Amigos suplexes in this match for a 2 count. Flatliner then hit by Andrade for the pin and the win. 3 points for Andrade. 4 bones out of 5 for this match. Very good match. And Daniel Garcia still has 0, and Andrade has 3 now. And Andrade, of course, was accompanied out by CJ Perry, but she had to leave, taking Andrade's mask with her to the back. Up next, we get a look back at the Gold League's, what's happened with the Gold League on Dynamite. Let me look at something just real quick here.
It was more a promo between Jay White and Swerve, wasn't it?
What?
The look at the Gold League. It wasn't like a look at the scoreboard. It was like that. It was a promo.
No, it was reviewing what happened on Dynamite, like the whole Gold League.
Yeah, but the 2 of them had like actual speaking parts in it, didn't they?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, they did.
So up next, Willie Mack, who hasn't been around for a bit, he stands up to Wardlow for beating up his friend AR Fox, and says next week he's fighting Wardlow. They did not say if they meant Collision or Dynamite or what, but they just said next week.
Wardlow's on Collision, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's not always. I mean, no, he was on Dynamite this week.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he beat
Okay.
AR Fox.
Oh yeah, on Dynamite. Okay. Cool.
And he was one of the Devil's minions also.
Possibly.
Up next, the Kingdom with Roderick Strong, three more of the Devil's minions, took on Iron Savages. Roderick,
Your favorite tag team.
oh, fucking hate the Iron Savages. I don't know if you've seen them, but their gimmick is they love to eat ass. They love to eat assholes. That's their gimmick. And at one point in this match, they were coming to grab somebody, and he said, "Oh, let me get that sweet ass." One of them said that to the other wrestler. I hate them. I hate their gimmick. Roderick Strong came out and dedicated this match to Adam. And the Kingdom won. This was a squash match. The Kingdom won with a spike pile driver. I don't need the Iron Savages on TV anymore. They're not good. Their gimmick sucks.
We also don't need the Kingdom to wrestle people that are too big for them to do the proton pack on. Because the best part of the Kingdom is, one, their entrance music, which they changed, and two, the proton pack. So we didn't get either of the best parts of the Kingdom during this match.
I'm sorry.
It's very upsetting to me.
Next up, we see Ethan Page. And he says, he wants to basically be the king of Canada. And to do that, he's going to have to take on the best. And so he challenges, they're going to Canada on the 6th and the 9th. And Page challenges Kenny Omega for a match on Collision on December 9th. And the match gets confirmed. So we're having that December 9th. We then get a video and some promos back and forth between Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Martinez. Have a good feud going there. I'm not sure if it'll spill over to AEW, but I believe that's been happening on Ring of Honor. Seemed very random that the promos were inserted here on Collision, but that's what they did. So
I think maybe they're trying to set up some matches for Final Battle.
yeah, I guess.
And want people to buy the pay-per-view, or at least join Honor Club to see the pay-per-view, rather.
Yeah.
So,
well, they could say something crazy like join Honor Club.
Yeah, no, that's too pushy. They can't do that. You want people to want your products because of how good your product is, not because you tell them, "Hey, you should get our product."
Yeah, that's it.
Like all good salesmen.
We're in the Honor Club, but we don't watch it.
Well, we just joined like a week ago.
3 weeks ago.
Nuh-uh.
It was 3 weeks ago.
Busy.
3 weeks ago. Up next, the House of Black. Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews taking on Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels. Sydal hit a standing flipping splash. Pretty impressive. Malachi Black hit a moonsault from the top rope to the arena floor on Christopher Daniels. Buddy Matthews hits a curb stomp on Daniels, and then Daniels gets up after that, and Black hits a spin kick right to the face of Daniels to get the pin and the win. This was a good tag match. I thought it was going to be just a straight-up squash, and they gave it some time, actually. Not enough time, but some time. 4 bones out of 5. Good match.
There were also dual Meteoros at one point that were pretty cool from the House of Black.
The lights go out again. I think maybe AEW needs to give it a rest for that, or at least have just one person able to turn the lights out. I don't know. ECW used to do it a bunch, and it never got old. But
it's just chill.
Okay, the lights go out, and FTR come out when they come back on. It was weird. It wasn't even like the lights went out and FTR appeared. The lights went out, and then FTR's music and Titantron videos started playing, It's just a normal entrance when the lights came back
on.
on.
I think the lights went out for like a spooky end of match for House of Black, and then they were going to leave. But before they could leave, FTR came out.
I don't know about all that. But so Malachi wants them to join the House of Black. or so he says. He and Matthews then attack FTR and spin kick Cash Wheeler, and then Matthews has Dax Harwood in a hold while Malachi is talking to him, telling him how no one is coming to help them. So that's pretty bad on the part of House of Black. And he was right. No one came to help them.
He was absolutely right.
No one came to help them. We had a Tony Storm promo against Sky Blue. She said, the only time someone has something nice to say about you is when they've taken a picture of your bottom. Which is pretty funny. And she
accurate.
Yeah. And she said, she asked Sky Blue, she said, do you think you're spooky now? I can be spooky. Watch. And then she goes, who? And then Luther behind her, kind of jumps and holds his heart. She also refers to the women's world title belt as a huckleberry, saying, do you want to come and get this huckleberry from me? I just love her. I love Toni Storm. I love what they're doing with her character. Sky Blue has a promo answering back on Toni Storm, and she just does a piss poor job at the promo. Not good. Not good. Like moving her hands where they don't need to be, and just moving oddly, and then she says, I'm. What does she say? She says, I'm gonna have my chin up and my tits out, and then she puts her tits out, because that's what she does. And she says, I'm gonna shove your shoe up your ass. Just seemed very not a face. She just seemed really like a disgusting trash person. Is the only way I can describe it.
Okay.
Sounded like a fucking somebody who's going to get in a fight outside of a strip club on Saturday night at 2 a.m. Not like a champion babyface wrestler. Just was not appealing in any sort of way to me. Christian and Adam Copeland, there was a promo about their match coming up on December 6th. And then we have a non-title match. We have the AAA Mega Champion, El Hijo del Vikingo, taking on Kip Sabian. And instead of just writing what I normally do, I'm just going to list all the awesome stuff Vikingo did in this match. Bounces back after hurling himself at the ropes head first. Bounces from one rope to another, then hit a flying arm drag. Hit a Hurricane Rana. Hit a Kamingiri. Hit a spinning tornado kick. Hit a Phoenix splash from the outside ropes to in the ring. Hit a Phoenix splash from the ring ropes to the arena floor. And finished off Kip Sabian with a 630 splash and a pin. Amazing. He continues to amaze me. This was 4.5 bones out of 5. This was the match of the night. This was the match of the week for AEW as well. Vikingo and Sabian, he was good too. I'm not putting Sabian over. He was good, but just when you're in the ring with Vikingo, everyone pales in comparison to him. So it wouldn't have been as good a match without Sabian, of course. But like I said, there's no comparison. But yeah.
After the match, Vikingo tried to get Sabian to his feet and to shake his hand, and Sabian just turned his back on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sabian's a little dick. He'll act like a little dick to you. That's for sure. So what was funny was Sabian before the match said that El Hijo del Vikingo was the most overrated member of AEW's roster. And it was interesting that he referred to him as a member of AEW's roster,
Oh.
Because he's not.
I didn't catch that.
He's a AAA guy. But from what I've heard, from what I've read, I should say, Conan has not been completely paying some of the people and some of the stars in AAA. And some of them are getting pretty, pissed off about it, as you would if you don't get paid for your job. So some of the AAA guys are very likely on the way out of there. I don't know what kind of contracts they have. I don't know anything about AAA contracts. But El Hijo del Vikingo is one of the guys I've heard of not getting paid, and it's like he's a AAA mega champion. Why the fuck is he not getting paid? He should be the first one getting paid. But so hopefully Vikingo can end up getting a contract with AEW because we know he'll get paid there. So that's what
and we'll get to see him so much more.
Yeah. I love him. He's my favorite wrestler currently wrestling, and I think the most skilled aerial wrestler in the game today. I think for sure. Next, we have a Keith Lee Shane Taylor confrontation, and the match that no one wanted is set for Ring of Honor Final Battle.
Woohoo!
Shane Taylor said it's a match everyone wants to see. It's like, no, dude, I got news for you. I could not give less of a fuck if Shane Taylor fought Keith Lee or if he came out and took a big shit in the middle of the mat. I don't care what Shane Taylor does. CJ Perry is attempting to be interviewed, and then Miro comes up and attempts to get in into Andrade's dressing room. CJ Perry then asks Miro not to bother her client, and he agrees. She says, "You've had your thing, now let me have mine, and let me have my clients. And if this is my way towards being happy or successful," something she said, "let me have it." And so he agreed. So I don't know. I don't know why it always ends up with Miro and some sort of, cuckold angle with his wife, Is that what they're
I don't
into?
think that's what they're doing.
Okay.
I think he's just not being possessive and letting her have a job. That's not being cuckold. That's being human.
Given their history, yes. And given the fact that she lets her tits hang out there while accompanying some other man to the ring, I think it's very suggestive what's going on.
I disagree.
Well, main event of Collision is the Continental Classic Blue League match. Bryan Danielson, his first match back, taking on Eddie Kingston, who has 0 points in the tournament so far. Eddie with some slapping strikes towards Danielson's orbital bone. That eye patch Danielson has really is a target on his face. Kingston also hit a spinning back fist on Danielson. Danielson begins stomping Eddie, though, with his signature Danielson stomps. And very shortly after that, hits the Busaiku knee for the 3 count and the win. And Bryan Danielson gets 3 points in the Blue League, and Eddie Kingston still with 0 points in the Blue League.
Do you feel like Danielson's stomps looked extra stompy in this match?
I did, yeah.
What was up with that?
I don't know.
It looked like he was really stomping the shit out of his face.
Yes, it did. I noticed that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did he do something to, piss him off during the match or something? And, it looked like he was stomping on his face.
Yes, they looked very convincing.
Yeah.
But I think that's because he was stomping on his face.
I think it's because he was stomping on his face.
So, yeah, I don't know what was up with that. Whether Kingston just said, "Let me have it," or if, he did something in the match to piss Danielson off, or what. But it looked like he was...
Maybe one of those hits to the orbital bone got a little too hitty.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, the stomps. You should go back and watch those stomps if you didn't see this match.
Mm.
Very stompy.
But yeah, so gave that match 4 bones out of 5.
Oh wait, you left off one of my favorite parts.
What?
So after the match, Danielson leaves the ring, goes down to the crowd, and retrieves an "Eddie is a bum" sign written on cardboard.
It was written on a pizza box.
I'm sorry, written on a pizza box. And then goes back into the ring and lays it on Eddie's lifeless body.
Yeah.
It was very funny.
So somebody's nasty pizza hands had been all over the box. It was written on the inside of the box.
Yeah.
Over cheese remnants and stuff said Eddie is a bum.
That was good.
So looking back on on this week's matches? You have any thoughts you want to share? Any reflections?
I have really been enjoying the Continental Classic matches. I am very worried for the wrestlers who are at 0 points. I don't want anyone to finish this match with 0 points, and I think we have to have several that are going to. And it makes me sad for them and their careers. And, like, that's embarrassing, and I don't like it. It makes me feel bad. Like, Daniel Garcia and Eddie Kingston. Like, I don't want them to have 0 points at the end. And my poor Mark Briscoe, him more than anyone else, I don't want him to end up with 0 points.
Yeah, I really don't want him to end up with 0 points.
The other ones you don't mind so much?
Yeah, the other ones I don't care. But I really don't want Briscoe to have 0.
You ended up with 0 points at the end, and like there was a big scoreboard with you and all the other competitors, and you just had straight zeros. Like, that's not fun.
No, but somebody's got to lose.
Someone's got to lose, but like, I don't want them to lose with a 0.
I hear you. That's very nice of you. Any other thoughts you want to share on the week's matches?
Collision was still super predictable.
Yeah, that was another note I had. Let me interrupt you real quick.
Okay.
We talked about it last week how predictable Collision was. This week, same problem.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good show, but super predictable. Literally, I predicted every match right. I predicted every match who was going to win.
So did I.
Yeah, so did she on Collision. And now it shouldn't be that way, you know? Should not be that way. Go ahead.
I mean, you just said everything I was going to say.
Oh.
So there we go.
All right, you want to do the news?
Sure.
AEW News Roundup. Kazuchika Okada is said to be seriously entertaining leaving New Japan for AEW or WWE. His contract ends January 31st. What do you think about seeing Okada come to AEW?
I think that would be awesome.
I think that would be awesome too. I'm sure WWE would love him.
Why does he want to leave New Japan?
I think just money.
Oh, okay.
You know. I mean, maybe you could say that new challenges. AEW has a superior roster to New Japan by all accounts, and by their roster is amazing.
Yeah.
So it could be that, but also just money. AEW has money, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have more. They'll have more money now New Japan without having to pay Will Ospreay.
True. Yeah, I would love to see Okada in AEW. I would hate to see him in WWE, fighting Vinci in hour 2 of a 3-hour Monday Night Raw.
Mm.
You know.
I'd hate to see anyone fighting on a 3-hour Raw.
Yeah. All right, so now for the Continental Classic standings. In the gold league.
Okay.
Tied for first, Jon Moxley and Swerve Strickland, 6 points each. Tied for third place, Jay White and Roosh, 3 points each. Tied for fifth place, Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal, 0 points each. And for the blue league. First place, Brody King with 6 points. 3-way tie for second place between Bryan Danielson, Andrade El Idolo, and Claudio Castagnoli. They each have 3 points. And tied for fifth in the blue league, Eddie Kingston and Daniel Garcia, 0 points. And those are your Continental Classic standings. And so we're 2/5 of the way through the round robin portion. And then they're going to take the top 2 in the gold and have a semifinal, the top 2 in the blue and have a semifinal. And the winners of those semifinals will fight at World's End for the Continental Classic, for the Triple Crown.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Who do you think is going to be the first draw?
The first draw?
Yeah, we got to have at least one draw, or else why'd they tell us how many points a draw
I can't say
is?
that without knowing the schedule. You know, I thought the first draw was going to be Jay White and
Swerve.
And Swerve, yeah, but I was wrong. So now I don't know. We don't know the schedule, so I can't tell you
Well, yeah,
what,
but you
what the
know
first
every
draw is.
wrestler is going to wrestle all the other wrestlers.
Well, we don't know in what order,
That's true.
so I don't know.
Okay.
On December 2nd, Chris Jericho showed up at a Vietnam pro wrestling event. Even cut a promo.
Like in the country of Vietnam?
Yes.
Why is he
Hence the name Vietnam Pro Wrestling.
Why is he why is he in Vietnam?
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know.
Weird.
He had the guys who ran the company on his podcast before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if he was doing a favor or what, but yeah, showed up.
Jericho, isn't that right?
I think that's right. AEW All In 2024 has already sold over $4 million in tickets.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah. On its way to being more lucrative than last year, perhaps. We'll see. Also, big news this week. Bryan Danielson confirmed that he's part of AEW's disciplinary committee. This committee, of course, famous for being the committee that decided CM Punk didn't belong in AEW anymore. And, you know, they mentioned the disciplinary committee back then. People were like, who the fuck is that? What's that? The disciplinary committee, you know?
I thought it was made up.
Yeah.
Sounds made up.
Well, I kind of thought it was made up too, but we're learning it's not. It's very real, and is apparently, I'm not sure if it's headed by Bryan Danielson or if he's just one of the members. And there's Last Week in Wrestling, there's Dylan saying, yo, what's up, Dylan? Ronda Rousey wrestled one match for Ring of Honor, but does not plan to return to wrestling, saying she just wants to be a full-time mom. Which that's a loss for Ring of Honor, I feel like, you know.
Well, yeah. For sure.
The Hardys are frustrated with how AEW is using them. Jeff Hardy, as much as saying he feels like a ghost backstage because he's not involved in anything particularly interesting going on. How do you feel about the way that they're using the Hardys?
They're using them in a very surprising way. They're basically like glorified jobbers. Like, when was the last time the Hardys won a match?
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, they're getting over all these other tag teams because it's like, wow, those tag teams beat the Hardys. But now the Hardys have lost so much, it's like, well, of course they're wrestling the Hardys. They're going to win, you know, over them. So it's just, yeah, I don't care for it.
Sad, yeah, I don't like it either.
And they had a storyline going on for a while with the Brother Zay thing, and then like the whole Ethan Page thing, and then all of that just fizzled, and they haven't done anything with them since then.
Yeah.
That was pre-Jeff, I think, even though, wasn't it? Like the stuff with Ethan Page, that was before Jeff got there.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time since they've had a storyline.
Well, and the word is, you know, Jeff Hardy may even go back to WWE. Here we have Dylan saying, I'm trying to display this. I did it. Saying, I feel it's time for the Hardys to come to the end of their careers, maybe be the ones to help put over new and up-and-coming teams. And I think that's true.
I think that's how they're using them. I don't think that's necessarily how they should be using them, but I think that's how they're using them.
I mean, I wouldn't say right now, today, but I mean, in the next several years, I think so, yeah. I think so. And there's been word, you know, Jeff Hardy may even be wanting to go back to WWE, but because he wants to do, I mean, that's like his home, has been his home. That's where he had his most success, and where he may want to do some sort of retirement tour type thing.
They did that whole thing with Sheamus and the, like, sobriety angle that was
Yeah.
just awful. Like,
Oh yeah,
he
it's
doesn't
terrible.
need to go back there.
I agree. It's just
That's not a good place for him.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. But that's that's the word.
To
Is
take
that
like
he
the
may.
worst part of your life and like make it your shtick, that's just terrible.
Mm-hmm. Ric Flair says he will walk away if he is embarrassing AEW. So did you hear about this on Rampage? He cut a promo where he said something along the lines of, women 18 to 28 come to my room, come to my hotel room after the show, no boyfriends, which who gives a fuck? I don't care. He's playing a character.
At least they're all legal.
Exactly. At least they're legal. Exactly.
Women
He's playing a character.
When they're legal, they can choose to be with whoever they want. Even if that's Ric Flair.
Thank you. And also, let's remember, he's playing a character.
Mm-hmm.
Do we really think Ric Flair is a married man? Do we really think he wants 18-year-olds showing up to his hotel room? I know a lot of people are out there being like, yeah, he's a dirty old man. No, he doesn't want 18-year-olds showing up to his fucking hotel room. Get a brain. He's playing a character. And a lot of people are just like, oh, that's gross. But again, he's playing a character.
It's supposed to be funny.
It's supposed to be funny, yeah. But nobody's allowed to have a goddamn sense of humor anymore. So it can't be funny for him to want to fuck 18-year-olds. That's the thing.
That's gross.
It's gross.
It's gross.
But yeah. Yeah, I thought it was funny, but they edited the promo out of Rampage. Dylan saying, "Hey, yo, Ric Flair's still trying to be the Nature Boy." True. But they edited the promo out of Rampage.
So how do people know about it?
Because people were at this damn show.
Oh, it aired live, like to the crowd.
Yeah. It's a taped show.
Well, I didn't know that they showed them the backstage parts too.
I think it was in ring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But then word got out of it on the internet, and everybody got all out of fucking control over it. Jesus Christ, people!
I saw a weird tweet from Rick about like being an embarrassment or something, and I had no idea what he was talking about. So I'm glad that you provided some context for that, because I was like, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, get a damn sense of humor, people. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to get this quote off of the damn thing now.
I think you just touch it.
I did it.
Okay, congratulations.
Anyways, I'm just sick of having to defend Ric Flair to these people who don't get that he's a character, Now, would he have meant what he said 20 years ago? Yeah. But would he mean it as a 74-year-old man? No, of course he doesn't mean it. It's a fucking joke. Jesus Christ. Calm yourselves down. Anyway, it just makes me mad how people can't take a goddamn joke anymore, And it's wrestling. If you're looking to wrestlers to get your morals from pro wrestling, you're fucked up already. I got news for you. Okay, moving on. AEW Dynamite drew its best rating since the NBA season began, with an average of 858,000 viewers, up 1.5%, just a little bit from last week. Drew a 0.29 rating in the 18 to 49 demo, up 11.5% from last week. So they must have been down in the older folks demos.
Was there just like a crappy basketball game on? Is that why, or do you think it's the Continental Classic pulling people on?
I think the Continental Classic, yeah. Because it's once you've seen one or two good matches, you're invested. You gotta want to see the rest of the tournament. Where's this tournament going?
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole idea of it, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's worked for me. I'm hooked in. I want to see what happens.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I'd be watching either way, but I'm actually very interested.
Mm-hmm. Serena Deeb is cleared to return. Her absence was due to unprovoked seizures that began in October 2022. Her neurologist has cleared her to return. So, yeah, she's been gone for quite a while.
She's been gone so long that I don't know who that is.
Yeah. And you probably only saw her a couple times, but she's good. She's talented. And everyone wondered why she wasn't wrestling, and now we know.
That's scary.
Yeah. So hopefully she is okay, and we'll get to return to AEW. Bandito suffers a setback in recovery and requires additional surgery. He's been out of action since June. He suffered a triangular fibrocartilage complex injury, which those are bones that connect the forearm to the wrist. He suffered that injury in June during a match with Konosuke Takeshita, and requires another surgery, and I'm not sure when he'll be well from the second surgery. So be a little while until we see Bandito again. In happy news, Sammy Guevara is cleared to return to the ring following a concussion he suffered at Wrestle Dream on October 1st. He and Ty Mello also, they welcomed the birth of their baby girl. So double good news this week for Sammy. It'd be great to see Sammy Guevara back. I mean, sorely missed, you know. He's one of those who you think about AEW, that's, you know, who I think about.
He's one that could be the devil.
Possible.
I wouldn't be mad at it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but he's someone that we hadn't really mentioned because of his injury.
Mm-hmm. I'm sticking with what I say.
That's fine.
Adam Cole.
It out there.
Adam Cole. AEW Collision did its lowest Saturday viewership. As I said, throwing all these jobber matches and shit in, it's not going to go anywhere but down, guys. Did its lowest Saturday viewership. Rampage was down as well. And Rampage goes up and down, but Collision's been on a steady track downward. And yeah, stop with the fucking jobber matches or people don't want to watch it. QT Marshall is leaving AEW, submitted his resignation. And so it's a big deal because he does a lot backstage. Did a bit of training, and like I said, did a lot background. You know, you probably hear it and say, QT Marshall, who gives a fuck if he leaves? And it's not about his wrestling. It's about what he did. Why it's a big deal is what he did backstage for them, and he's been with them since the beginning. But he said the company is going in a direction that he doesn't like. People are saying it's becoming more like New Japan, which I guess is a good thing. But
they're saying it as a bad thing?
Yes. But the QT Marshall word is he wants to be a wrestling star. So he's going to go somewhere where he can get on TV regularly. And the first place that popped in my mind was TNA. Because I don't see WWE using QT Marshall. I don't see them wanting him. So I think TNA.
Does he still have the belt from
AAA Latin America champion?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have TV.
Not here. No.
They have a TV show in Mexico?
Yeah, of course they do.
Oh, well, I don't know. We can't find that on the internet somewhere?
Well, we'll try to find it. The other company, the CMLL, is supposed to be the better company now.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they pay the wrestlers?
Right. I mean, that's what I've heard, is that they've pretty much overtaken AAA as the better promotion in Mexico.
Interesting.
I have not seen them, so I don't know. I'm just judging by what I've read.
Well, Mystico is from there, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
We've only seen one match of his. So.
He's good.
Yeah.
Mystico.
Mm-hmm.
So Mystico wrestled a wrestling match before the Denver Broncos game, like 5 or 6 weeks ago, and either before the game or at halftime. I think before the game.
Like on the field?
Like in a ring on the field, I believe. Yes.
Weird.
I'm not 100% sure, but it was at the Denver Broncos game, like an official part of the game festivities. Since he wrestled there, the Broncos have won every game.
Are they crediting Mystico for that?
I think Lucha Blog on X is. He is.
I like it.
So All In will be AEW's only show in England in 2024. So really driving people to buy All In tickets. I wanted to go, but somebody put a stop to that.
England's expensive. International plane fare is expensive.
Yeah, we can take a boat.
Because that won't be expensive. A cruise across the Atlantic Ocean.
A cruise, just like a
boat.
Just like a boat.
Like the Mayflower?
Like the Mayflower, yeah.
That's a great idea. 6 months later, we'll arrive.
Just take not a cruise. We can just take a boat, right? There can be a boat that's not a cruise ship.
Yeah, if you own like a yacht, we don't own a yacht.
What kind of boat did they take in Friday the 13th Part 8? Was that a cruise ship?
That was a little small cruise ship.
We can take a small cruise ship.
That did not go well for them. You want us to go on a cruise like that? Where you get murdered?
No. Some of them survived.
Anyway, is there any more news?
So yes, last piece of news. We've known it now, but MJF suffered a torn labrum, and will still defend his title at World's End. And as I said earlier, supposedly is going to work some like smoke and mirrors matches. Kind of halfway wrestling between now and then, and we'll see. Hopefully, he can do that and not injure himself anymore.
I feel like if anyone can pull off smoke and mirrors matches, it's MJF.
Yeah.
He's such a good actor.
So now to the rankings.
To the rankings.
Top five. AEW top 5 rankings. Every week we list the top 5 men, the top 5 women, and the top 5 teams. Our ranking system is super secret, super proprietary, and we will never ever tell you, no matter what. Start with men, women, or teams?
Let's start with teams.
Teams. Number 5, falling one spot from number 4 because they've gone to the Shadow Realm after being attacked by the Devil's Minions. The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, the World Trios Champions. Where are they? Who knows? When will they be back? Who knows? 4th place, falling 2 spots from number 2, the Golden Jets, Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, the number 1 contenders to the World Tag Team titles. Number 3, a brand new trios team, Top Flight and Action Andretti. Got that big win over the Hardys and Brother Zay. Number 2, undefeated as a team, I believe. Brand new to the list, Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews of House of Black. And number 1, Big Bill and Ricky Starks, the AEW World Tag Team Champions. So number 1, Big Bill and Ricky Starks. Number 2, Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews. Number 3, Top Flight and Action Andretti. Number 4, the Golden Jets. Number 5, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. So you want to do men or women?
Let's do men.
Men. Number 5, undefeated in the Continental Classic, Brody King, and he was number 5 last week also. Number 4, the AEW TNT champion, returning to the list, Christian Cage. Number 3, he was number 3 last week as well. Undefeated in the Continental Classic, Swerve Strickland. Number 2, up 2 spots from number 4, the number 1 contender to the world title, Samoa Joe. And number 1 for the umpteenth straight week in a row, we could go back and I'd be interested to see how many weeks in a row, MJF, the world champion, number 1. So number 1, MJF. Number 2, Samoa Joe. Number 3, Swerve Strickland. Number 4, Christian Cage. Number 5, Brody King. And for the women, number 5, down 2 spots from number 3, Sky Blue. Back on the list, number 4, Emi Sakura. Back on the list, number 3, Abaddon. Got that win over Kiera Hogan this week.
And looks like she might be going after the TBS title.
Number 2, she was number 2 last week also, the AEW TBS champion, Julia Hart. And number one last week as well, the AEW Women's World Champion, Toni Storm. So we've got number 1, Toni Storm, number 2, Julia Hart, number 3, Abaddon, number 4, Emi Sakura, number 5, Sky Blue. And so now it's time for the topic of the week.
No, it's time for the... Wait, yeah. We did men? We did men already.
We did men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's time for the topic of the week.
It's time for the topic of the week.
Which is what?
And the topic of the week is going to be the state of the AEW women's division. So I'll let you begin.
Oh, thanks. I feel like it's improving. Because normally I would say it is dismal, but it doesn't feel dismal anymore.
Yeah.
We have storylines, which is what we've been asking for a long time. At the last pay-per-view, there were 2 women's matches, not just one, which was like mind-blowing. Because that's the first pay-per-view that I remember watching that has more than one women's match.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the first one, but it's just the first one I remember. Yeah, I feel like they have good storylines going with both belts. It would be nice if they had some other storyline for like all the other women on their roster who we don't see ever. But I feel like they're moving in the right direction. They're just moving at like a snail's pace.
Well, they only have time for so many storylines, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying you wish they had storylines for the other women we don't see that much?
Yeah, or like a storyline involving the women we don't see that much. You know, if you have more than one women's match per episode, then you can have regularly more than one storyline going. So I feel like that's a good place to start. I'm not asking for like 7. I just need like 2.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've long been a proponent for. I say 2 women's matches per show. Collision and Dynamite.
And always 2 for every pay-per-view, at least.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it's asking a lot. You know, if you're going to have, what do we usually have, 6 matches on a show?
On like a regular show?
Yeah.
Or a pay-per-view?
No, regular show. Let's say we usually have 6.
6?
Well, it doesn't matter.
Anyway.
But let's say we have 6. I think having 2 isn't asking a lot. 33% of the wrestling be women. That's not asking a lot. And I think usually we'd have 7 matches. I'd be more of a proponent of having 7 matches and having 2 of them be women, and that's not even 33%.
Even if you just shave 1 minute off of all the other matches' length time and give me like a short women's match, you know, that'd be fine.
Because that's the thing. It's like, I mean, I like men's wrestling better. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't, because I definitely do. But I like women's wrestling too. I mean, it doesn't have to be either or, you know, and they're different.
In WWE, I like women's wrestling better.
Yeah, in WWE I might, yeah, but we're not talking about it.
No, but I'm saying like it's possible. It's not just like women's wrestling as a whole is worse than men's wrestling. If you have a women's division that's good and you use it well, it can be on par or better than men's wrestling. It's just not in AEW, is my point.
Yeah, in WWE, but I mean they've got such a stacked roster. We don't need to go over right now, but just with Charlotte and everyone else, Asuka, etc. And they got a stacked roster. Where AEW is improving. I mean, they've got the women's world champ, Toni Storm. I feel like the world title is in a good place with her. You know, she can wrestle and is entertaining. And I think keeping it on her for a little bit will be nothing but good for the company.
Plus, when Thunder Rosa comes back, she can go after it since that's who took over as the interim anyway, it would make sense storyline wise.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really hoping they do.
That would be great. But having Toni Storm as the world champion, I think is great. It's a great move. Like I said, she's been very entertaining, very funny, and can wrestle. Is one of the best wrestlers they have as well. One of the best female wrestlers they have as well. Julia Hart as the TBS champion, I'm not as big a fan of. At least they are doing things with her, though. And she has improved, but it would have been hard for her to not improve from where she was, because she was horrendous. But she's improved to where she's now decent, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. It's like one step up from passable.
Yeah. So I'd still rather the TBS title be on someone like Chris Statlander, you know.
But they didn't give her any kind of storyline, so her reign was like, whatever.
Yeah, I hear you. But they could have given some storyline with her and with Statlander and Julia Hart. They just didn't do much of one. It was focused around Julia Hart and these other women.
Yeah.
Coming up with Julia Hart's match against Statlander.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, they can do, you know, Julia Hart doesn't need a belt. She doesn't deserve a belt. And she could be one of those women where they could do stories with her. I mean, she is one of the most powerful characters on the television show.
Because she can turn the lights off?
Because she can turn the lights off with her magic, and she can, you know, she has a mist that can make other women turn moody for like 3 months. And
can give them really long PMS.
Yeah. can turn moody for like 3 months, yeah. But yeah, she doesn't need a belt. Like I said, doesn't deserve it. But they could still do stories with her if they're going to make her a big character, like they seemingly are.
So other than Chris Statlander, who would you want to see the TBS belt on? I have two if you want me to go while you're thinking.
You can go ahead.
So I say either Ruby Soho after you finally let her win some matches.
Mm-hmm.
Feel like she's pretty deserving of it.
Yeah.
Or Willow Nightingale. Those are my two.
Those are good.
Would be good. TBS champs.
I think I would agree with those. I would also throw in Abaddon.
She just hasn't been around.
Yeah, she hasn't been around much. But I could see it. But yeah, Ruby Soho, definitely. If I just had to pick one, I guess I would pick Ruby Soho because she's good and she's done a lot.
I'd like them to bring Mercedes Martinez and Diamante up from Ring of Honor and like have them be permanent members of the AEW women's roster. I think they're both really good. You know?
Yeah, I mean, they could use it. And with this, you know, battle between Mercedes Martinez and Willow Nightingale on Ring of Honor, maybe Martinez and Nightingale will end up coming to AEW. You know, Nightingale's been kind of off and on part of AEW. I mean, if they're going to keep Ring of Honor around, they can't have everybody coming to AEW, though.
Well, they kind of can. They film it on the same night as they film Collision.
They kind of can, but that's not the way they've been playing it. You know, they have their Ring of Honor regulars, you know, like Billy Starks and Athena. And
do you think if Athena drops the belt to Billy Starks that Athena's going to show up on AEW?
She should. I mean, I think it's time. Yeah, she needs to be on the real show, on the big show, I should say. She deserves to be, no doubt. And I think that would be a nice improvement for them. I wouldn't take too many people from Ring of Honor, but if I had to just pick one, I would say Athena for sure should come to AEW.
I don't know. I would pillage their women's roster.
But you can't leave it. I mean, you can't leave it with no one there.
Both. Or take the women like Julia Hart or Anna Jay, who needs more practice, and stick her on Ring of Honor.
Anna Jay's terrible.
Yeah. Let her work her way up there, you know?
Yeah, put Anna Jay on Ring of Honor. I would.
Lady Frost back on Ring of Honor.
I would say put Anna Jay off television and Lady Frost needs to be a Ring of Honor and improve.
But like
Kiera
Trish
Hogan
Adora,
needs
like,
to be in
oh my
Ring of
God,
Honor.
Trish Adora should be on AEW. You remember Trish Adora?
I know who you're
Okay,
talking
okay,
about.
okay.
Yeah. She could be a nice addition. I'm not trying to raid all of Ring of Honor though. Like I said, you got to keep their women's division with some people in it.
But I think you can bring them up as like real challengers every once in a while and like have like a brief storyline and then go back to Ring of Honor.
Yeah. And that'd be a nice way for them to get a little TV time
Yeah.
too, and for AEW's roster to stay kind of fresh.
Well, and also to get more people to watch Ring of Honor potentially. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that woman was awesome. Where did she go? Oh, she's back on Ring of Honor. Let me go watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But yeah, I feel the women's, like I said, the world title's in good hands. The TBS title, not so much.
It's in good hands storyline wise.
Yeah, but you could say that about anyone storyline wise. You can make anyone feel like a champion, or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Seem like a champion. I mean, like I said, I just don't think Julia Hart's ready for that. I don't think she has the wrestling ability to warrant having a belt.
I agree.
Or in fact, I know she doesn't have the wrestling ability to warrant a belt. Not I think, I know. So, I mean, it was obvious they were heading that way, but it's not smart to me. You know, you need your champions to be able to look at these people and be like, yeah, that's a champion, man. They're good.
It's like
You don't need to be able to look at the belt holders and be like, man, she's sorry. Why does she have a belt?
Yeah.
That's the last feeling you need when somebody's looking at your champions.
Like, who saw her wrestle and was like, oh, I know, let's make her 55-1.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
fucking know.
Like, what?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Of all the women on your roster to do that with.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Positives, though, AEW has been focusing more television time on women than WWE.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
I look at the there's an account that every week does a listing of how much time is given to women.
Oh, that's cool.
And now WWE gives more on Raw, gives more like gross time to women, but that's because it's a 3-hour show. Yeah. So you got to remember, AEW has a women's match on Rampage, a women's match on Collision, and a women's match on Dynamite. So out of 5 hours a week, you have 3 matches.
WWE does too.
WWE does 3, but they're shorter, I believe. They give less time.
I see.
Because they'll do 2 on Raw and 1 on SmackDown, but they give less time.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, AEW is doing better that way. They're close. They need to be further out. You know, like we said, they need to do 2 on Collision. So that's what I think. And Dynamite, and then that would be 5 matches in 5 hours versus Raw or versus WWE's 3 matches in 5 hours. I think that would be nice to be able to make it clear that they cared more about women's wrestling.
Yeah.
Because then that's a great way to attract more women, you know? Because these women in Stardom aren't going to be in Stardom forever. These women in WWE, at some point, something's going to happen that pisses them off. You know? Something's going to happen where maybe they feel like they're not getting represented correctly, where they feel like they're not getting the right opportunities. And if you're only having 3 matches, just like WWE is only having 3 matches, you're not differentiating yourself as a place to really welcome women, you know?
Yeah.
So you up the matches, and like I said, have 5, 2 on each 2-hour show, 1 on the 1-hour show. And then it becomes a difference. 5 matches a week versus 3. You become the place where women should go, where they should want to go. They get more opportunities. Because there's almost twice as many matches. I mean, that's 5 versus 3 doesn't sound that big, but over time, you do it over a month. You're talking about 20 matches versus 12.
Yeah.
You know, over 2 months, you're talking about 40 matches versus 24. You know, 60 versus 36, et cetera, over 3 months. So it really adds up as just a
Quickly, that's a good
more
point.
opportunity for women if you do it that way. And then you wouldn't have like what's happening right now with Mercedes Moné thinking, oh, should I go to AEW? Should I go back to WWE? You know, it wouldn't be that much of an option. You know, you would have it clear. Well, if you want opportunity and not get stuck in the same place, come to AEW, you know. But so what do you think about some of the lesser talents like Kiera Hogan and Anna Jay? You said Ring of Honor. I would say Anna Jay. I would tell her to just give up.
That's mean. That's like heartless, man.
You wouldn't tell her to give up? Have you seen her
No.
wrestle?
Yes, I've seen her wrestle, and she needs to be on Ring of Honor.
I don't think she needs to be on television.
Well, Ring of Honor's not on television.
I don't
It's on
think
a
she
paid
needs to be on
subscription
Ring of Honor.
service.
She doesn't need to be on a television.
She should go to the performance. Do they have a performance center?
No.
They should get a performance center.
Yeah.
Why don't they have one?
I don't know. But no, they don't have one. But they definitely should have one.
Yeah. I don't know. Are there some people that just can't wrestle and can't learn?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not for everyone,
Yeah.
you know. And some people have it, some people don't, and Anna Jay don't.
Yeah, I'm not going to say someone shouldn't pursue the career that they're most interested in. But what was your question?
What question?
You asked me a question about the lesser.
What should they do with like Anna Jay, Kiera Hogan?
I think Kiera Hogan. I mean, you need some people to lose.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not saying get rid of all of your women who are not top notch or whatever. Plus, like, you learn and grow from wrestling people who are better than you, and so you want to be in a place where people are better than you to try and like push you and grow you. Most people I would leave where they are. There's just one or two. I'm really more interested in bumping up women from Ring of Honor than putting women down onto Ring of Honor, because I don't want it to view it like a down step, you know? I just want it to be an open exchange of women so that we get. I mean, Ring of Honor's got good women. We should take them. I want to see Trish Adora like regularly, you know?
Yeah. And if we up the number of matches, we could.
Yeah.
I think that's the number one thing that needs to be done with AEW is up the number of matches. That's a very easy thing to do that would mean a lot. I think that's the most important thing that needs to be done. And then you can decide the talent from there where they belong.
Yeah.
And then keep people like Emi Sakura. Like she should be winning matches, you ask me. But I think just because she's great, but just because she's an older lady, they have her lose and put over people a lot. She used to win, I think, a lot on like Dark Elevation. I think because she has a very good record in AEW, given the fact that she never wins.
Yeah.
But she won a bunch of matches on some TV show. So I think it was Dark Elevation, which I didn't used to watch those. Usually not. But okay.
So when can folks hear from us?
Well, I wasn't done
again?
having a conversation about the women. See, and it's people like you, Kay, that don't give the women their just due.
I'm sorry. What else did you have to say?
I don't know. Do you have anything in summation to say to kind of?
I feel like we've covered it thoroughly. That's why I thought we were done.
Oh. Some women's factions, I think would help things too. People love factions, and they tried with the Outcasts, but they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball with the Outcasts.
That could have been
good. And the whole Outcast versus Homegrown thing could have been good, but they just drug their feet and dropped the ball. So it just didn't work out. But that's not to say we don't need factions, And I think Athena she could lead a faction for sure. Trying to think who else could. Julia Hart's in a faction. And it would be cool to see some women put in other factions as well. To see, a woman in the Blackpool Combat Club. Like Trisha Dora in the Blackpool Combat Club. That would be cool.
She's already in a faction.
What?
She's in the infantry.
The infantry? Yeah, but they're not going to come up to AEW with her. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. She needs to be put in something else. And she would be great in the Blackpool Combat Club.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to pick one woman to be in it, I think she would be the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just those kind of opportunities. Look for them and then and use them, for the women. Like, just because it's women's wrestling doesn't mean it needs to be kept entirely away from the men.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you could normalize more mixed tag team matches. I like mixed tag team matches. And you get to show off the skill of men and women at once,
Mm-hmm.
I would even, AEW has too many belts. I would even say get rid of some of the belts and have a mixed tag team belt. I'm for getting rid of most of the belts in AEW. But I'd be cool with having a mixed tag team belt. I think that would be cool. And like I said, that's just an opportunity for you to showcase men and women at once. And then, like I said, these women that you have in factions, like think of a Bryan Danielson, Trisha Dora tag team. That'd be awesome to see.
Mm-hmm.
See him fight against Julia Hart and Malachi Black. That'd be fucking cool.
Trisha Dora would squash her like a bug.
Yeah. But just
awesome.
For an example.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's the last thing I have to say is factions. Make some women factions. You could have some that are all women, and then also at the same rate, you can just put women in these factions that are presently all male.
You can even add more than one woman.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, and that's one thing right now that just feels disconnected from the rest of the product because they aren't in factions. That's kind of what I'm saying, and that's pretty much how AEW works. They've gotten away from it more, but it's pretty faction oriented still, So I think by having women factions and having them in existing factions, I think you connect them more with the product, and therefore the fans care about them more. I think that would be another step I would take for sure. Is with the factions. But yeah, so I think that's our talk on the women's wrestling scene. If you have any comments, any smart or otherwise, feel free to get at us with the comments. If there's something we missed about women's wrestling, someone we mischaracterized, please let us know. Tell us, tell us we're right. Tell us we fucked up. Let me know. Let us know in the comments. But so Sunday, you'll be able to see us. We're doing a retro watch along of NWA Starrcade 1983, and that's going to be Sunday 12:45. I tell people come at 12:45 because we start the show right at 1 p.m. And it's going to be myself, Kay Fabulous, and Dylan from Last Week in Wrestling, watching the very first Starrcade 83 from the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. Going back, the main event is Ric Flair taking on Harley Race for the NWA World Title inside a steel cage. There's some other good matches as well. Roddy Piper versus Greg Valentine in a dog collar match.
It's awesome.
It's awesome. Very bloody, very excellent match. Both those matches are excellent. There are other matches, obviously, on the card, but those are the highlights. Come join us Sunday, 12:45, right here on YouTube for that retro watch along. We're doing Starrcade throughout the month of December. And
Don't forget to hit subscribe so that way you don't miss any retro watch-alongs that we do or any of our podcast episodes that we do every Monday at 6.
Thank you. And yes, every Monday at 6, AEW Weekly, 6 till around 8, a little just before 8, like we're doing now.
And you can catch us every Wednesday and Saturday for Dynamite and Collision watch-alongs over on Last Week in Wrestling podcast YouTube channel. So make sure to check them out.
Or you can watch them on our YouTube channel
Right,
also.
yeah.
They're shown on our YouTube as well. Either way you want to do it. And folks, I believe that's it. And thanks for watching. And like I said, get at us in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And as Mick Foley would say, have a nice day. Bye.